let alone on an app. But for me, intuitively, I don't care if you're charging $1 a month or $100 a month. If you are now charging your customers, that means your expectation of your customers and your consumers has gone up, obviously, which means intuitively on the balance of that, our expectations of the plethora of bugs on this app need to be addressed. I'm sure many of you, I don't think it's just a Droid thing. The fact that you still have like that little indicator that you have new messages, and I know first world problems, but the fact that we still have an indicator if you have new messages when you don't. The fact that you can delete some back channel messages, but others you cannot, and for some reason you can delete some, and for some reason you can unsubscribe from other chats is absolutely wild to me. I honestly think a high school coder with basic coding and engineer skills could fix these bugs. So I'm going to have to point the problems to those folks. Again, I'm not saying those two individuals, but whomever they have empowered to address these sort of bugs. Apparently, they're not high on their priority, but I absolutely have no problem with people reporting me. I know everyone's up in arms, people freaking out. Oh, no, this Anon person is streaming us on YouTube. Great. Who cares? Like, we're in a world now in social media where you have no rights. Like, well, we all click off that little T and C box, but we don't read the 25 pages in microscopic lettering that enables us to use the app. We're just like, oh, let me just use it. So anyway, I don't know if anyone else has a similar frustration of the, like, for example, the new message indicator.
Well, Moose, I wanted to get back to you. Sorry to interrupt. So, Moose, I was wrong. You were actually correct. I put it in the group chat. It appears that the average wage of Starbucks is $16 to $19 an hour, but if you include all the paid time off, you include the option to be paid for your schooling and education and all the other benefits, they say it averages out to about $30 an hour, but the average pay is $16 to $19. And on the Clubhouse thing, before I go, I didn't hear what was said prior to 15, 20 minutes ago, but it is a documented fact that Clubhouse started with an initial infusion of $100 million. It was a couple of months after that, another $300 million. So they've had a capital infusion of a total of $400 million. And as far as I'm aware to date, they have not taken in one single dollar of profit. Yeah, you know what, Marcos? Go on mute or I have to drop the thank you. As far as I'm aware, Clubhouse has not declared one single dollar of gross profit, but they did start out with $100 million and then another $300 million for a total of $400 million. Business has been running 5 years now. Just a question, how do you run a business for 5 years and not have a single dollar of gross profit? Forget about net profit, gross profit. And thanks, you guys. It's been fun.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, I'll say this. I don't think Clubhouse is ruined. I like Clubhouse. And I'll also say, present company excluded, but the biggest people complaining about who ruined Clubhouse are the fucking biggest grifters on this app. And I'll stand on my square on that shit.
I think it's interesting. Clearly, when the money runs out, Clubhouse will be gone, or they'll get bought by someone else that may or may not decide to keep it going. You can't keep it going forever if you're not making money. That's first and foremost. As far as is it a dying app? The numbers suggest that it's. Depending on the snapshot that you want to start from, is it a dying app? Absolutely. The peak of April 2021 was a long time ago. And so maybe if you started with like a starting point of January 2025, maybe they're picking up a little bit of momentum, but they're nowhere near where they were in the early part of 2021. And it's funny that Paul